Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. We're so happy to see you all. You'll see up on the screen here the one-pager advertising our one-day retreat on January 4th. I'm so grateful to make a few announcements today. First, that we will be officially running a one-day virtual retreat via Zoom on January 4th. Led by our very own Lama Surya and our special guest today, Lama Roger Walsh, as well as a few senior students. So for those of you who have been missing these more formal moments for the Sangha to gather and to receive transmissions and teachings and formal practice, this is our chance. You'll see here that there is a QR code. For today, that is the way that you can register. You'll receive on Wednesday, if you're part of our email list, formal invite and a link to the website and a link to registration. But we wanted to preview it here today with all of you. If you have questions, you can always reach out to me at kelly@zochen.org, or you can always reach out to Patrick, Lama Surya's assistant. I'll put these in the chat as well, and it's patrick@surya.org. So we are very, very excited to kick off the new year with this just amazing opportunity. So the next thing I wanted to remind everyone of before I turn it over to our dear Lama Roger is that weekend is daylight savings, or as Menla reminded me, it's the end of daylight savings. As some elementary school teacher taught me years ago, we fall back and we spring ahead. And so this is a fall back moment, meaning it'll feel an hour later. So please put that on your calendar. Join us at 11 Eastern next week, and I look forward to continuing our practice with you. So with that, I'm so delighted. We're so lucky to have our dear Lama Roger Walsh here, with his always wise and loving pith instruction. So thank you, Lama, for being here, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Kelly, for all the work you and other senior students are doing to bring these gatherings together for our community. It's a beautiful gift you're offering everyone, so thank you very much. And what a gift it is. Here we are. Somehow, but I'm going to put us all on gallery so I can see everyone. Oh, how about that? Oh, how nice. Okay, I'm just taking a moment to delight in seeing you all. Some of you I know, some of you I don't, but we're all part of the community, so it's very nice. And let's see, what I'd like to do today is to continue along the general theme of what I did in the couple of meetings before that I was a guest at, and that is to move through a series of practices, each of which can be an independent practice in and of itself, but which can be combined in various ways as part of a single sitting. And depending on how long you have and what your particular space in mind and heart is, you can mix and match various practices to serve whatever your need is. If days we're feeling agitated, it may be just really good to stay with the breath for a long period of time, just gently focusing and settling. Other times, if we're feeling we want to open our hearts, then some heart-centered practices. Other times we may just be settled and wanting just to open into the spaciousness of open awareness. So we can do some briefer preliminary practices and then just spend most of our time doing that. There are a range of possibilities, and one of the beauties of Vajrayana is it has a lot of practices. The downside of that is it can be damn right overwhelming. But what I've done is I've selected some really key practices, and I have about maybe 18 that is, I think, are really useful to have available to work with on a semi-regular basis in some semi-systematic way as our part of our daily life practice. And of course, I'm not going to run through all 18 today. I've introduced some of them before. We'll introduce maybe a couple of new ones and reinforce and practice some others. But basically, what I'm wanting to do is in our brief time together is guide you through a series of practices which support and reinforce and deepen one another, and leave you with these practices, because this video will be available. You can come back to it at any time if you want, and leave you with these practices as part of your own contemplative repertoire that you can draw on as you feel moved. So I'm going to suggest we start, for example, with gratitude, and then move through systematically some practices which, as you'll see, will build on one another and which you can use in your own ways. Okay, so I said a moment ago that I was putting us on gallery so I could just enjoy looking at everyone here and being with everyone. And perhaps you'd like to do the same and just appreciate that by some miracle, totally beyond my comprehension, some miracle, here we are from around the country, in some cases around parts of the world, all together, joined in this aspiration to cultivate and bring forth the most beautiful qualities of heart and mind within us, and to recognize that those heart-mind qualities we so deeply, in our hearts, so deeply want to be part of who and what we are and how we live. And so we do these practices to first cultivate them, and then at a deepest point, recognize that they're always already there, that there always already is awareness and love and care and compassion as part of our very fundamental nature. And so we move towards that beautiful discovery, at which point those qualities start to arise more and more spontaneously. So we're here with that recognition and aspiration in mind. And isn't it beautiful to think that everyone here, everyone you're looking at on the screen, is here because they really want to be as loving and kind and compassionate and aware as possible. I mean, it's just really nice. I mean, just look around. Every single person has this desire. What a gift. I mean, who would you want to hang out with more than a group like this? Really? And here we are, brought together by some incredible miracle of circumstances and karma, all of us with a similar aspiration, and also by some miracle of electronics and technology, far beyond what I can comprehend. And basically, we're here because of not one, but boundless number of miracles. And if you think about it a little more, you realize that, okay, we can think of our individual lives and all the people we're dependent on. You know, if it wasn't for a whole slew of beneficiaries, we'd be hungry and naked and probably dead. But by this incredible interdependent network of blessings, we're hopefully, most of us, pretty comfortable and sitting in probably in by most standards, pretty nice places, able to be together. So far out. So if you think about this for just a moment, you realize that each of our individual lives is dependent on a whole network of beneficiaries, from the people who bring us the food, to the people who make our clothes, to the people who plant the seeds, people who make the fertilizer, the people who make the machinery. And then there's this electronic miracle, and which, these screens we're looking at basically have elements in them from most of the continents on Earth, dug up by who knows who, transported by more people, brought together, melded in various ways by some miracles. And you start to think about it, you realize the fact we are here, able to be together and practice together and see each other and enjoy each other, because we're the beneficiaries of most of the people on the planet. And it's really, think about it. All the people who made these screens, and then all the people who fed them, and the people who fed them, and the people who clothed them, and it's a boundless network. So we are literally here enjoying the benefits of a boundless network of beneficiaries. Wow. So that's a lot to be grateful for. So let's just take a moment and recognize and let that sink in and just, so many people to be grateful. And we haven't even talked about the earth and the elements and the sun and the crops. Everywhere we look, or whatever direction we think, we're a beneficiary of something, of someone. So our lives and good fortune flow to us through a boundless network of benefactors, and we in turn aspire to practice so as to radiate through that network the most beautiful qualities of heart and mind. We aspire to bring awareness and sensitivity and care and love and joy into our connections, and from those connections and relationships to others. So we are taking the benefits of literally billions of people, and we're aspiring, wanting to use them to cultivate the very most beautiful qualities of heart and mind, and then feed them back into this network. And notice that every single person you're looking at on the screen has the same aspiration. Everyone here wanting to be a benefactor. And look at the screen and recognize that every single person here wants to be your benefactor. Really wants the best for you. And just let that in. And really let in that you really want to benefit every one of these people. What a beautiful gift. What a beautiful community. So we have just done a contemporary version of a very ancient practice of reflections on a free and well-favored lives. We've acknowledged how fortunate and blessed we are, that we have lives that are free of multiple problems and favored with beautiful circumstances which allow us to practice and live well. And free and well-favored life reflects on all the things that have to come together for us to be in the fortunate circumstances we are and to be able to practice. We just did a contemporary version of that. The ancient practices did not mention computer screens and electronics and so forth, but we just updated it. And now just take a moment to feel what it's like to be really to open to the blessings of others and to gratitude. And what you might notice is, you might notice, for example, a kind of lightness, warmth, tingling in the heart area. You might just notice a kind of buoyancy, a sense of being lifted up a little. And you might notice a quiet joy. And if you inquire, you might just notice there's this desire for the well-being of others, to share this, because the beauty of positive state, heart-mind states is that you want to share them. So, yeah, so just feel that. And maybe another time you'll notice that when you feel imbued with gratitude, that it melts barriers such as the fear of love and allows us to open to love in a way that we're often defended about. So, beautiful. And now just notice how you feel. And really tune into how you're feeling right now. And then continue to be tuned in, and then just put a smile on your face and notice what happens. Ah, yeah, good. Okay. And in our tradition, we usually begin somewhere towards the beginning of our practice session. We usually do the Bodhisattva aspiration, which is the aspiration that we may awaken and cultivate benevolent qualities of heart and mind as fully as we can, so that we can most effectively and helpfully benefit others to awaken and cultivate beautiful qualities for themselves. Today, I'm just going to ask you to check in for yourself instead of doing a formalized Bodhisattva practice. I'm just going to ask you to feel in and see what aspiration would satisfy your deepest being. What would be an expression of your deepest aspiration? What is it you would want to aspire to at this moment for our time together today, for the day, and perhaps beyond? What would you like to aspire to? Perhaps a particular quality of heart or mind, or qualities, or a way of being or acting, what would serve your deepest or highest, depending on how you're looking at it, aspiration? And just give give words to that in your mind. And feel what that aspiration does, how, what it elicits in your own heart mind. Good, beautiful. Okay, so that's the aspiration. Now let's think of now you've aspired to some cultivating or expressing or living some beautiful quality, doing some particular good. So now let's, once having set up that aspiration, either the bodhisattva aspiration, or in this case, your own unique aspiration that serves you best for today, let's get some help with living that. And there are a couple of ways we can do that. One is you can invoke the blessings of the lineage masters. And the general idea here is that those who have awakened to rest in an awareness which is outside space-time, that our deepest awareness is also outside space-time. And so we can ask for the blessings of those realized ones whose awareness beyond space-time actually is not separate from our own. Difference being them, they're aware of it, we may, us less so. And so we can ask for the blessings of the lineage masters, and you might just, if you will, however you'd like to do that, you can ask. You can think of a particular, someone in our lineage, like Chenpa, perhaps, Yamakati, any of the great, or just in general, the great lineage masters, the great men and women who awoke to their true nature, cultivated all beautiful qualities. And you can ask their blessing, and just with the understanding that there is some way in which this blessing opens us to their influence and can have transforming effects on us. You can just ask for the blessings of the lineage masters. We don't have to do anything else other than request the blessing and then just open and rest. Okay, and then think again about what you're aspiring to, your aspiration. And think, is there some quality of heart or mind would really benefit you in fulfilling that aspiration, in becoming what you aspire to or recognizing what you aspire to. Is there some quality of heart or mind that would strengthen you, empower you, brace you, and help you fulfill and live your highest ideal? And then think of someone who embodies this quality, someone who really did cultivate it or does cultivate it. It might be someone you know, might be an historical teacher, might be an archetypal figure. And I'm going to invite you to do a visualization meditation in which, having thought of the person who most deeply embodies those qualities, I invite you to bring them, bring them in front of you. This person who embodies the quality, exemplifies the quality that you would like to have, would most benefit you. Bring them in front of you. And then just see them melting inward, melting in to become a ball of light, transmuting into light. And then see that light coming up over your forehead, over your head, then coming down through the center of the head, down the central channel or spinal cord, into the heart, and in the heart exploding through your body-mind, filling your body-mind with that quality. So now you are filled with this quality of heart-mind that you were feeling would be so helpful for you. And this quality of heart-mind is now a great strength of yours, available to call on. And as you feel yourself imbued by this quality of heart-mind, notice the body, how the body moves or the posture it wants to adopt while you're feeling this quality. And let it move into this posture. Exaggerate the posture associated with this quality of heart-mind. And feel how that strengthens the quality. And be aware that you can re-evoke this quality of heart-mind, this strength, this virtue, this capacity by adopting this posture or doing this practice. Feel what it is like to embody this quality. And know that you can re-evoke it by adopting this posture and also by doing the practice yourself. Oh. Good. Okay. Oh, okay. And let's now move to the breath. Do some concentration practice. Stabilize the mind. Good. So sit with the back relatively erect. Rest of the body relaxed. And turn attention to the sensations of the breath at the abdomen. And see if you can just gently stay with the sensations of the breath. Rising and falling of the abdomen. And now see if you can follow three components of the breath cycle. See if you can be aware of the in-breath, the out-breath, and a gap before the next breath begins. You might have the eyes slightly open, spine relatively erect and straight to maintain alertness, rest of the body relaxed. So we cultivate that combination of relaxed alertness, which is most conducive to clarity and calm and alertness. So being aware of three phases of the breath: in-breath, out-breath, and gap. And whenever attention wanders, just bring it back to the breath. And you might notice, or you probably will, if you haven't already, that there's a tendency for the mind to wander. Well, that I'm sure you found, but specifically in the gap between the out-breath and the in-breath, when there isn't really an object for the mind to focus on, that is particularly when the mind tends to wander. So one antidote to that is to be aware of the in-breath and then the out-breath, and then in the gap, be aware of the whole body. So in-breath, out-breath, whole body. So you've got a three-part focus there. In-breath, out breath, whole body. Now, so this is concentration practice, a way of stabilizing, calming the mind. So what you're aiming for here is real presence, to be really present, but in a relaxed way. So you're fostering the alertness through things like the straight posture and the intention, but you're not tensing. It's not a tension, contraction, effort. It's intention, not contraction. Intention doesn't have to be tense. So really attending to the breath, in breath, out breath, our whole body, really present. Good. So that's our basic concentration practice. Now, I'm sure you've noticed the mind wanders and it gets caught. We get hypnotized by our own thoughts. We may get swept away with images and fantasies, but it's thoughts which are the most subtle and seductive of mental phenomena. And we literally identify with them, become hypnotized. So instead of, oh, that's an interesting thought, it becomes, oh my God, I'm scared, or oh wow, etc. So what we want to do is a practice that's very valuable, is just spending a period of time really catching thoughts. So take a couple of slow, deep breaths and relax. And now, these next few minutes, we're going to play the game of catching all mental phenomena. That is, I emphasize thoughts because they're the most tricky, but actually we want to be aware. We want to be aware. We're like a cat waiting for a mouse, waiting to see anything that arises in the mind, a thought, an image, a feeling. Don't have to do anything with them. We're just trying to catch them before they catch us. Okay? That's one way of looking what practice is. It's really a mind-blowing recognition when you realize that what we take to be normality is a state of hypnosis. It's a state of self-hypnosis. And we are in the game of de-hypnotizing ourselves. And what that means is before thoughts and fantasies grab us and entrap us in their self-creating universe, we want to catch them, be aware of them. And it's the difference between, it's a life-changing difference. It's the difference between having a thought and not recognizing, oh God, I'm scared. I can't handle this. It's too much. Oh God. And having a thought go, oh, a thought arise, I'm scared. Oh, that's an interesting thought. It disappears, has no impact. If we don't recognize thoughts and fantasies, they become our reality. When we do recognize them, they just pass through the mind without any effect. So what we want to do, we're going to take a few minutes to just really try to be aware of thoughts and images and feelings as they arise. And you want to do that, you want to try and catch them and notice how early you can catch them. Because, for example, a thought can arise and it can pass through before you even notice it. And you say, oh, I was thinking. Or a thought can arise and halfway through you recognize, oh, I'm thinking. Or a thought can arise right just as it starts to come into awareness and has no impact whatsoever. So you want to catch, for these few minutes, we're going to catch mental phenomena as they arise and try to catch them as soon as possible. Note at what phase you catch them. So, okay, take a few deep breaths. Straight back, erect, alert, relaxed. Okay. Go. You might want to have the eyes slightly open. It's up to you. But your job is just to be alert to whatever arises in the mind and notice it. You don't have to do anything with it. Just notice. What's happening right now? You're just watching and noticing. Alert, ready. Alert. What's happening? Good. Stay alert. You'll get trapped at times, but just begin again. You can always begin again. Great. Okay, relax. That's a very valuable practice, but best done for short periods. Okay, good. Okay, and now I invite you to open open awareness, to open your eyes, raise the gaze a little bit, let the eyes just open softly in front of you. Be aware, notice this 360-degree sphere of awareness. And notice awareness filling the body. Notice awareness in the body. Be aware of all the body, awareness filling it completely. And now be aware of the body in awareness. Notice the body in awareness. And notice the environment in awareness. All our experience is occurring within awareness. And now just take a moment just to look at an object in the environment. Just look at it, notice it. Now really look at it intensely. Notice all the things you missed before. Really look at it. And now come back to your awareness. Be aware, 360 degrees. And now really be aware. Really be aware. Bright. Clear. Luminous, intense awareness. This is awakened awareness, not just kind of a half sleepy awareness. It's really awake awareness. This is what we want. This is the awareness that catches thoughts and images as they arise, that notices the subtleties of our experience, that allows us not to be hypnotized, that dehypnotizes. Awakened awareness dehypnotizes and awakens. Good. So you rest, alert, really aware. And if we had time, we would extend this practice, just continuing to stay awake, alert, aware. Okay, so we run through a series of practices. Now as we come towards the end, we want to harvest them. So I invite you to do a reflection, 2 reflections. First, as a result of your practice, what did you learn? What insights or understandings emerged? What did you learn about yourself, about the mind, about experience? You might want to name those insights so they stick around. And then, very importantly, what did you learn about how to practice? What did you learn about how to practice? You might want to name those too. Very important at the end of a sitting, just reflect and mind, get the value from the work you've done. What did you learn? And when you sit again, what will you do different? Okay. That way every sitting becomes a learning. Good. Okay, and let's just gratefully offer the benefits for all. They all we have experienced and explored and learned serve our welfare and awakening and the welfare and awakening of all. Good. Deep breath. Well, we worked our way through a series of practices then. As I said at the beginning, what I wanted to do was continue giving you a repertoire of practices, each of which can be a practice unto itself for a session, but each of which can be used in various combinations to build on and strengthen and, and amplify the benefits of others, or to prepare the subsequent practices. So we started off with gratitude as a heart opening, heart melting. We just did a very simple thing, putting a smile on the face. We then did our aspiration, traditionally the Bodhisattva aspiration, but in this case, I just invited you to see what aspiration best would serve. And then we evoked the strength to fulfill that aspiration by calling on the blessings of the lineage masters and by doing an exemplar visualization, a visualization of someone who exemplifies the quality you want. We did some concentration practice as a way of settling the mind. Then we did the very important practice of really noticing mental phenomena as they arise, rather than getting lost into them and caught by them. And then we opened to our trekchö, that is open awareness practice, sky gazing practice, and finished with reflection, to reflecting on what you learned from insights you had from the practice and what you learned about how to practice. I want to just emphasize, so we move through a sequence there. You can see the logic. You can take any components you wish, mix and match. I do want to emphasize the practice of taking some regular time just to really catch mental phenomena as they arise, catching them before they catch us, dehypnotizing ourselves. It is possible, and I speak from sad experience, to spend years in a kind of little bit dreamy state as, things come in and gently, can be quite subtle and catch you, and just be in a little semi-dream state and not really alert and clear as we were doing with one practice there. So it's really important. I really wish I'd appreciated how important it is years earlier. Would have saved me years of time. So you can learn from my mistakes. Okay, so let's see. I think Menla's been taking comments and questions. Of course, if you'd like to offer them yourself. But Menla, do you have?
Yes, we have one question, Lama. It says, what if you recognize the thoughts and catch them, but the emotions take over and you get caught up in that? How do you deal with it?
Yes, definitely can happen. Well, there are a variety of approaches, but the simplest one, and it's very congruent with our awareness practice, is not to do anything to them, but simply to be aware of them. If you want to be a little more active, you can actually investigate them, look carefully and at the emotions, or where is it located in the body, what's the body doing, what's the feeling tone, the texture, the shape, as a way of exploring, whichever seems right to you. But there are a lot of different ways, but those are two of the simplest. Yeah.
Thank you. We're about out of time, Lama. Do you want to tell people about your podcast that you have?
Oh, do I want to? Oh, well, sure. Yes, I have the privilege of interviewing wonderful people on a podcast, Deep Transformation, Self-Society Spirit. What we're really trying to do is get people who have deep contemplative practices and an understanding of the great issues of our times and of all times, and bring some depth to the internet. Well, that's not an oxymoron, we hope, having depth on the internet. And it's been a real privilege talking with some very profound spiritual teachers and people. We just had a beautiful dialogue with Iron and Maurizio Benzazzo, who created the film Where Olive Trees Weep about the West Bank. That's beautiful. We just interviewed, actually, I think next up will be Jerry Brown, Governor Jerry Brown. And we've had a series with Hamid Ali, or also known as A.H. Almas, who founded the Diamond Work. Truly one of the great sages of our time. And we've been doing a year-long series of dialogues with him. Truly amazing. So, love to have you join us. Thank you so much. And again, and if there are no further announcements, Menla, again, just let's take a moment to appreciate the priceless gift we've had and shared together, and raise the aspiration that all we've learned and experienced and enjoyed and shared may serve our welfare and awakening, and the welfare and awakening and healing and helping of all. Thank you all for your practice and for joining us today and making this possible. Yeah, great to be with you.
And reminder, if you came in late, next week the time changes, so be aware of that. And you can go to Lama Surya Das's YouTube channel and listen to Lama Raja again later today. Thank you all.